Well, the National Human Development Report for Pakistan is for us an opportunity to have a conversation with the youth, by the youth, to identify what are the issues that they care most about, how they see their future of their country in this country, how they see the development priorities, and also to entertain a conversation about what can be done to integrate youth into the education system, the economy, but also into the political affairs of this country. When UNDP consulted with, of course, the government, intellectuals, leaders, and we asked them what is the most pressing development challenging facing Pakistan today, invariably their answers came back to the issue of youth. That you speak of employment, of education, of growth, of militancy, of political activism, all those issues centered around youth and what is we believe, the greatest integration challenge for Pakistan, which is how are youth going to take part in the economy, how are they going to take part in society, how are they going to be equipped with the tools that they need to help this country grow in the future. Well, what is clear is that our preliminary analysis and the work of many of our collaborators shows that it's not sufficient to provide educational opportunities. Parents won't send their kids to school if going to school means no employment opportunity. People need to see that going to school and the investment of going to school will mean greater social mobility, will mean greater salaries and greater opportunities. And it's impossible to significantly increase the enrollment rate if we are not also increasing the opportunities for people to live a meaningful and productive life in society. And at the moment in Pakistan, the opportunities are so limited for youth, economic, but also of professional training, and you see this in the apathy, in the protest and the voices of the youth that we have consulted throughout the country. Well, like many NHDRs that UNDP has launched in many different countries, we hope that the report becomes a platform for public conversation, for dialogue, but also for some concrete action. And we hope that the NHDR this year, with a new survey, with a novel methodology in terms of gathering all these voices of youth, but also using the human development concept, multidisciplinary and multi-perspective, we're able to bring novel proposals in terms of what can be done to integrate youth in the economy and society. And I think that you will be extremely impressed by the quality of this report and the quality of this process. What is striking to me when I meet different groups in Pakistan, but especially when we're amongst young groups, is the absolute deficit for public spaces, for public dialogue. And this is particularly the case for youth. In every forum that we go to, when you start opening for the question period, it's incredible the amount of energy there is into wanting to be heard, into wanting to say one's opinion. And I think this is one of the great deficits right now in the public sphere in Pakistan. We hoped, and because of that, we hope with the Human Development Report that we would create a number of different spaces where we could engage youth. And for us and for the lead authors, Adil Najam, Faisal Bari, it was essential that this doesn't become a report done by a bunch of experts in a room. The report needs to be a report by the youth for the youth. And for that, like we've done in many other countries, we've explored different methodologies where we'll be able to get inputs on ideas, but also on concerns, on what is the most important for youth in the three aspects that the report is looking at: education, employment, and engagement. And by there I mean political engagement, but also engagement in non-political, in civil society organizations, community organizations, etc. So we hope that with these innovative methodologies, we'll be able to gather the voices of the youth, of course, their concerns, their ideas, and proposals, and that they are organized around the 3 E's of the report: education, employment, and engagement. engagement in political organizations, but also in church, religious groups, in civil society organizations, and other community organizations. Well, it's crucial, of course, and absolutely we're going to be using social media as a tool. Of course, understanding the limitations, the limitations of access. We know as well the limitations in terms of the type of people that use different social media tools. Twitter, for example, is much more limited than Facebook, and so we're going to privilege, of course, Facebook, given its breadth and the number of users. Pakistan has one of the highest growth of new users on Facebook, and many of those are young men and women who are, for the first time, engaging in a quite different way in the public sphere. Well, it was crucial for us that, and this was a lesson that many of our colleagues, many of our collaborators have helped us understand, that it's extremely important for this report, for the results and for the proposal of this report, that we include the diversity of this country. This is an extremely diverse country with very different economies, very different societies, and so we were keen of not going only to capital cities, urban areas, but to be able to go to areas where that are much harder of access, and we hope that the report will be will lend justice to the great diversity of this country. Well, I'm a very new Twitter user, and frankly, I've just started using Twitter as part of this work, and I certainly have a lot to learn from Pakistanis who are many of them absolute champions of Twitter, and I find it extremely interesting. But of course, Twitter is also limited in its audience. It is generally used by journalists and the elite, and I think has certain limitations in terms of outreach. But I certainly think that it's an amazing tool, an amazing new tool, not only to get the message out, but also to gather quite a bit of information very quickly. Well, the National Human Development Report on Youth, Jawan Pakistan, tries to also use ways of engagement of the youth. And this is why we are going to use ideas such as the voice activation box that allows youth to interact with the media and with selfies, and in a way that they do in any case in their daily lives. So it's not so much about a new methodology, but it's adapting how we have been doing reports and gathering voices to what youth are already doing. I think for all sorts of reasons, I think also because of the political situation in the country, but also because of a number of crises that hit the country, natural and others. Both the UN and UNDP were involved in responding to these crises. So I think now we are trying to recuperate a lot of these tools that are extremely useful for policy dialogue, and we thought this was a perfect opportunity, rather at the beginning of a government, hoping that decision makers can engage, and they have been engaging quite positively in the process. It is a real challenge, I think, for anybody who's trying to engage in such a participatory way to develop a policy and research project. It's a real challenge because of, I think, certain level of fragmentation in Pakistani society, but also because of the breadth of the country and the enormous amount of population. So for us, it has been our strategy has been to engage in a very different way. To get the project known, first of all. Second, to gather inputs for the report itself. And third, for the dissemination, for the engagement about the proposals and their applicability, their implementation. So in each of those moments, we will be engaging at different tiers. Everything from community to high-level policy engagement, using the media, of course, but also using organizations and leaders that are already exist in society. And I think that one of the great observations of the report is the wealth, the articulation of how articulate these young people are at the community and at the local level. And I think this is a great wealth for the country. every human development report is not a foreign product. It might be facilitated, it might be promoted by the United Nations and by UNDP, but the product has to be led by public intellectuals of the country. And we thought that both Adil Najam and Faisal Bari shared the vision of human development, had extensive work on education, on employment, on engagement. But more than that, they are leaders in their field in terms of bridging solid academic research with public engagement and advocacy. And I think that the combination of this approach and their belief of the power of the Human Development Report and the Human Development Approach as a tool to change the world, and in this case to change Pakistan, is what made us so enthusiastic about working with both Faisal and Adil. I certainly do not feel that young anymore, but certainly I think that, and we have this trend not only in the UN but across different sectors of society. Of course, I think being on the younger side of the leadership of UNDP, it allows me to understand and to use certain tools that perhaps some of my colleagues that are older might not have such facility. And of course it's a great advantage, but also I think that working in a country like Pakistan, you need certain levels of energy that are certainly a big advantage, and I appreciate that.